Welcome to the Run All Day podcast, where we highlight the athletes, coaches, and leaders who inspire and shape the sports community. Today, we're joined by Tre Baker, a coach and club coordinator at Athletes Performance Enhancement. Tre is a graduate of ASU with a degree in clinical exercise science who has been training athletes since 2021. A former multi-sport athlete himself, playing football and running track at Williamsfield High School. Shout out to Williamsfield. He brings a young, passionate perspective to coaching and athlete development. In this episode, we'll talk about coaching and training across different sports, understanding the mindset of young athletes, and how APE is growing and creating value for athletes at all levels. Let's jump into it. Hey, Coach, how's it going today?
Good, man. I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me on, man.
I know. I feel like we've both probably been really busy today. What's your morning been like?
I woke up this morning. I actually went to the store. Got some groceries. Worked out a little bit at the apartment gym, and that took about until 10:30, and now we're here. Now we're here doing this.
Yeah, I think I woke up, went to Fry's by 5 a.m. because I wanted to get my morning coffee.
Yeah.
I quit coffee for a little bit, but my doctor told me it's okay if I have like a quarter cup, so they don't even charge me anymore when I go in there. And then I grabbed a bag of ice for the kids, but then I forgot a second bag of ice. I made like 3 Fry's trips.
My goodness.
That's like the best thing is I live right down the street next to that Fry's, so it's walking distance.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did some cross-country practice this morning. Yeah, we had a small group today. We traveled out to Los Angeles, so you can't expect everybody to make the trip. But for the group that we had some EGs afterwards. So hit them with a good run and hit them with some sugar.
Yeah, and then get into bed afterwards.
Definitely. Just jumping into it a little bit. What got you into sports originally, and how did your time as a football player and track athlete shape who you are today?
When I was young, I was always like the quick twitch kid on the street. I grew up just in Gilbert, Arizona. I moved up here since I was 6. And then over time, my mom just noticed, hey, you're kind of fast. Let's try football. And I was like, okay, cool. I mainly did football. I didn't do track until I was in high school. But mainly for football, it was like, hey, I want to be a receiver. Receivers are fast. That kind of was my start, my upbringing of like, hey, sports are just something that I love. I was always the kid that would turn on the TV and look at old NFL highlights that would play on DirecTV. And I would 2008, 2012, I'd watch Olympic highlights on reruns just over and over and over again. That watching athletes kind of perform at their best and just strive for the gold medal or whatever they're doing. That kind of got me into sports and made me want to do it more. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that was the same with me. I grew up in Globe, Miami. I mean, I was pretty athletic as a young kid. I loved basketball and baseball, but being in Globe, Miami, I'm 5'8", I'm Hispanic. I know my basketball career.
Unless you're jumping out the gym, you're not.
Yeah, let's just be real about that.
Yeah.
I played a lot of baseball, did a lot of club traveling, but that was the same way. It just got me into a lifetime of fitness. My dad is 61, and he's just always been athletic. He played softball. He was football in high school. And now he rides his mountain bike like an animal.
Right.
And I'm like, he's 61. I reach out to the universe and I'm like, please give me those zing.
Give money to Jesus when you get to that age. Hopefully you're able to perform the way he's doing.
Exactly. Did you have any athletes that you kind of idolized growing up?
My favorite, and actually he's the reason why I played receiver, was Larry Fitzgerald. I grew up a Cardinals fan because I moved here when I was 6. The Cardinals played the Steelers in the Super Bowl, I think 2009 or 2008. And I remember crying when they lost because Larry Fitzgerald was my idol. I remember he caught a pass. It was like almost the end of the game. He caught a pass, ran down, and like either he scored a touchdown and got caught down with one
touchdown because I wish that like when I look back on it, he would have went out.
Yeah,
like
he scored. Yeah, I remember that. He was the reason I actually wanted to play receiver because he always caught the ball, and I think in his career, like, he has more tackles than drops, that just shows his model of consistency and stuff. Larry Fitzgerald was my all-time favorite receiver, so he's kind of the reason I played receiver, and he was the reason why I was like, hey, I want to do what he does. And now I was a Cardinals fan, and now I'm kind of an all-around NFL fan now, not as much so Cardinals anymore, but because they're a little haven't been as consistent as recently.
Yeah, I mean, I love Larry Fitzgerald too. I grew up a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Sorry.
I know. Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, but now I just appreciate greatness like Randy Moss and people like that.
Jerry Rice and all them.
Yeah, basketball was Muggsy Bogues and Spud Webb.
Yeah, because the short guys. No, that's just.
I didn't have the
absolutely.
I think, and maybe we'll get into this too, is like through our coach in high school, really focused us on plyometrics one summer. I think it was my junior year, and he's like, we're going to try this thing called plyos, and we were doing box jumps and just all types of plyo things. Like, for being 5'8", I think I touched the bottom of the rim.
Yeah.
And, like, now I don't even think I can touch it.
So I'm 5'7", and I love plyometrics. That's what I always do. And I can approach, run up, and jump up and grab the rim and hold up on there. And then people are like, Tre, can you dunk? And I was like, I don't know how to grip the ball and slam the ball, but if someone threw a loop or alley oop, and I could probably jump up and slam it. Plyometrics, I'm really big on those, and they're so fun. And I try to make the athletes do them all the time, and they're like, oh, Tre, I can't jump on this box. Or I'm just like, just try it, just do it, because it's I love it. It's fun. I make kids do it all the time, and they're like, oh, can we do something else? And I'm like, no, we're doing this today. It's really fun. I love plyos.
Yeah, I just got a plyo box from one of my friends that comes to the gym. He's been coming 3-4 days a week, and he pays me in equipment. He's like, what do you need? What do you bring? Like, and we brought a plyo box the other day. It was something on the wish list.
How high is it? Or is it like a short, small?
It's a short. I think it goes up to 22.
Okay, yeah, small.
But like my son yesterday, he's only 9. He was jumping on it, doing some stuff. Yeah. Now I'll start incorporating it with the athletes.
Yeah, that'll be big for him. If he does that consistently every day, he'll. What sport does he play?
He's only 8 right now.
Oh, so he does sports right now.
My girls get really, I'm not mad, but they poke at me because when they were 8, I had them santan running up to this water tank, and we'd be doing like 400 repeats. And like with my son, it's like butterflies and his
things like that.
It's a little bit different approach. He's not as driven as
your other girls are.
But I just got him a pair of Adidas running shoes that look like mine. He put them on yesterday and started acting like he was all fat.
If he were to play a sport, which will
probably cross country. Yeah, but I think he has a knack for like wrestling too.
Okay.
I don't know what a wrestling kid looks like, but
they're usually like short, stocky,
stringy. But like I mess with them. But he's like, Dad, I want to do wrestling. But I'm not a boxer, but my dad was a boxer in the Army, and he taught me growing up. I'm just teaching what my dad taught me to him. And he's getting pretty good.
Good.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe he'll try it out
for his age.
Yeah, absolutely.
What made you want to pursue a degree in clinical exercise, and how's that education help you as a coach?
When I graduated high school, I didn't initially know what I wanted to do. My mom told me, because initially I was like, okay, I'm just going to go straight to ASU, because that's what kids did. 4-year university, go. But my mom was like, okay, how are you going to pay for it? And I was like, I sat back and I was like, I'm 17. I graduated at 17, so I'm like, I don't know anything about paying college or anything like that. My mom said, go to community college, take the community college route. And at the time, 17-year-old kid, dumb, don't know anything. I thought community college were for people who aren't smart, that they didn't, but it's actually the opposite. The smarter people go to community college first because, number one, it's cheaper, and then you can still get the same classes and stuff that you do at university. It's just cheaper. I was at community college first at Chandler Gilbert, and I got my associates in that. And then while I was at Chandler Gilbert, I was like, I want to still be involved in sports, because that was my passion, that was my drive. And I was like, okay, what degree can I use to keep my passion going? At the time, it was exercise and wellness. That was the program. That's what it was called. So I graduated from Chandler Gilbert, went to ASU downtown Phoenix campus, where the health science department.
No, I mean, I work at ASU. Obviously, we're in an ASU building right now, and it blows my mind because I feel like you restrict people if it's just downtown Phoenix.
It was such a far drive, because I live right next to Williamsville. It's called Ray Ranch, so it's like 2 minutes down from Williams. I would have to drive from there like 40 plus minutes to class in downtown Phoenix, but that was where the health sciences were. I was like, dang, there's not one in Tempe, there's not one here.
And it's already has a shuttle system that they do now. When sessions and starting now, those shuttles run 15 minutes, like every 15 minutes. And then, I mean, you would have had to connect to Tempe.
Exactly. And so I kind of just sucked it up and was like, all right, I'm just going to drive. I purposely put my classes in the morning because that traffic downtown Phoenix is terrible. I got to ASU, and they changed the major to clinical exercise science, which is the same thing. I don't even know why they changed the name, but it's the same thing. Learning at ASU really helped me develop discipline and kind of learn from everybody. So when I got to APE, it kind of taught me just to sit and observe and watch. At the time, I'm a new guy at the time, and I'm just kind of watching all these older coaches doing what they're doing with all these kids, and I'm kind of learning from everybody. I would say the main thing I learned from ASU was, hey, this degree that you're doing, you can use this knowledge to help the athletes. And then when I was at APE, when I first started, I was asked a ton of questions. Hey, what do you think about this exercise? What do you think about this exercise? What about this? What about that? I kind of just kept absorbing information, because I don't know everything, right? And then I never admitted that I knew everything, and that's kind of one of the things that I love about myself, is that I don't claim to be the smartest in the room. I'll ask questions if I don't know anything. Learning from other coaches, learning from other professors at ASU, they really helped me during my process.
And I think that's what a lot of people get the misconception about college too, because it's not just about learning the skill or the talent. It's how to analyze data, how to network, how to communicate, work in groups, how to critically think. And all those translate to like then your specialty when you get out in the field, because you're like, oh, I have all these different tools and I know how to start putting programs together, plans. Kind of derail us a little bit, but going back to MCC is where I went.
Okay.
Went from Globe, Miami, Arizona, small town boy, down to here. I didn't want to leave my mom and dad too far, and all my family lived down here.
Okay.
I was first person to go to college in my family.
Okay.
I was told by somebody to do bad on the placement test so I could get easier courses, but I didn't know. And like, I was pretty smart, and I did that. And then I ended up in like a 82 and a 092, which were courses that didn't even count. I had to take those just to get into Math 101.
Yeah.
And so what a waste. And granted, when I was sitting there, I was like, I didn't, no offense to anybody, but I was like, I do not belong in this.
In this class. No disrespect.
But it's funny because 3 guys from that classroom, they didn't graduate, but they have great careers now. They're still my friends to this day. And it's funny that it was that 092.
You can still make a lot of connections regardless of whatever class you're in.
Exactly. Going back, how did you find your way to APE, and what drew you to their mission and approach?
I was 19 at the time, saving money. I was still at Chandler Gilbert, saving money. I was working at Subway, just saving, stacking, because I paid my own tuition. A family friend of mine, her name's Ashley Payne, who's a physical therapist. Shout out to her. She knows Larry, who's the owner of APE. She does a lot of physical therapy work on her son, Snug, or Taylor Graham, who's actually at Ole Miss as a freshman right now. And I've known her since I was a little kid. She kind of texted me one day and was like, hey, I know your major, you use exercise science. You're at Chandler Gilbert right now. Do you want to come down to APE and check it out? And I said, yeah, sure. So I drove down there, walked into APE and talked to Larry, and Larry took me in a ride in his car and was like, asked me all these questions and where I was from, Williamsfield High School. And actually, a lot of my friends actually went to APE, football athletes and stuff like that. They actually went to APE. I was the kid that went to football practice and went home, did my homework. There was a lot of my friends that went to football practice and then went to APE afterwards. I had no clue APE was a thing. He talked about that, and then he was like, okay, let me get with our head trainer and see if the hours for you. At the time, I was like, am I getting a job? I had nothing. I did not know.
Or anything. Along for the ride.
I was just literally along for the ride and was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening right now? A couple weeks later, the head trainer texted me and was like, hey, you want to sit down for an interview? And then a couple weeks later, quit my job at Subway and got myself down to APE. I texted Ashley afterwards, hey, I thank you so much for this opportunity. And she was like, I didn't do anything. I was like, no, you literally, had I not known her, I wouldn't have known Larry, and I wouldn't have known all these kids. I wouldn't know all these athletes, but so many people. I would have met you. It's like a trickling effect. I've thought about that. I've reflected a lot of times throughout the years, and I'm like, I text her every now and then, hey, again, thank you so much for what you've done. And she was like, Trey, she's home. I didn't do anything. I'm like, no, you literally are the reason why I'm at APE. Shout out to her.
Yeah, I envy you, man, just because if I could go back, I would go probably to like a physical therapist route or something like that. I was at MCC, again, first time person. Me and my mom didn't know what we were doing. My mom still came with me to sign up for my classes. I'm telling you, man, I'm a mama's boy. I'm a July baby.
Yeah.
And my mom's, like, my birthday is in 6 days on the 18th. My son is the 17th. My mom is the 19th.
Oh, wow. It's just boom, boom, boom.
And we're all highly emotional.
Yeah.
And sometimes if we get mad, though, we regret it right away. But we're all very much alike. And I see it from my mom to me to my son.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my mom came down with me. But we went to a counselor, and me and my mom. And we talked to the counselor and was like, what's the closest he has with all his classes? Yeah. And they were like, teacher. And I was like, okay. I did mentoring in high school and I like teaching. I went into teaching, and that kind of the history. I wasn't one of those teachers that it was like, this is my lifetime passion.
Yeah.
I want to do this for the rest of my life. But now that here I'm at ASU and I work on complex problems and try to bring solutions and write programs, what got me into like the fitness and all that is I was a marathon runner and I was always getting hurt. Right. And I was only training myself. And then I would add strength training, and I was adding the wrong strength training that is maybe good for a runner. And so then YouTube came out, started YouTubing things, working with seeing different chiropractors, physical therapists, trainers, and started incorporating that. And then just being a teacher, that talent that I had from that to write programs, and I just started user testing on myself.
And started combining all of that into one and kind of doing it
So
yourself.
then my girls started getting older and getting into it, so they became test dummy one.
So you're like, we're gonna try this day. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and they've all both, knock on wood, been injury free.
Yeah, knock on wood for sure.
And Tylee coming into her freshman year. Next time you see her, man, she's put on a little, not muscle, but she looks toned and ready for running.
Stronger.
So yeah.
Actually, so now that you bring up strength training, when I was running at Williamsfield, at the time, if I like kind of like what you would say, like go back. If the one thing I would change is during track season, I didn't lift. And so I didn't run freshman year. Sophomore year, I ran with my sister who was older, and then I pulled my hip flexor. And then junior year, pulled my hamstring. And I'm like, at the time I'm young, I don't know anything. And then now that I know what I know now, it's because I was just running, wear and tear. The tires are just going out, wearing out. If I could go back, I would have strength trained while in season. But the misconception is you don't train during season, right? And a lot of kids do that. And it's like, well, hold on now. If you don't train at all, you're going to lose all the progress that you made. My senior year was healthy, was able to run, but strength training was definitely important. Now I emphasize with kids, like, hey, just because you're in season doesn't mean you can't come in, do a little bit of this, do a little bit that way your muscles stay strong. Sorry to cut you off, but to piggyback off that, it's like the one thing I tell kids is like, all right, please stretch, number one, because that's why if you don't stretch, you tear your muscles. And number two, doing a little bit of extra work will actually help you versus be detrimental to you. And a lot of kids get scared because they're like, this is going to make me sore, or this is going to make me this. And it's like, not necessarily if you do the correct stuff to not make you sore, right? It's always a fun dynamic talking about that with kids because they just don't want to get hurt. That's what they're scared of.
And then when they start seeing that progress from doing that, just to wrap everything up from what I was talking about was, I forgot to even mention it, was I tore my meniscus and went to physical therapy at Endurance Rehab in Mesa. And that's where I kind of learned everything, because it was like a lot of those strengthening the knee, people are like, my knee hurts, but it's not really near your knee. There's a lot of
it might be weakness in the quad, or it might be whatever, weakness in the glute that's making your knee go this way. There's a lot of other stuff that factors into that.
Yeah, I'm like a 5-time graduate of Endurance Rehab. Yeah, different injuries.
You've been there for a while.
And then I met this guy. His name was Tom Pagor. Shout out to Tom, one of my best friends, through the Santan Trail Runners, running with Trail. And he happened to be a PTA at the time. Then I just stopped going to endurance because he knew everything. And he was a PTA, but it was like he had the knowledge of everything. Like he was a physical therapist with just out the certification. And then now he has his medical. He's a medical doctor. He's like my go-to. Like, I get medical reports, send them to him.
Yeah.
Hey, this is hurting on one of my athletes. What do I do? And I have everything at the house, and he's taught me. I just need to go get the certs now, and like stim and cupping and all that.
So I thought you could do yourself, but you have him as a...
Exactly. I mean, he's taught me over the years, like just a good guy.
Yeah.
Talking with athletes now, you've worked with athletes from different sports. How do you adapt your coaching to meet the unique needs of each sport?
With APE, it's unique because like we start training at 5, 6 years old, and then we train collegiate athletes. One of the great things that I've developed over the years is I'm very fluid, and I can work with, say, a 6-year-old. I can work with an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a collegiate athlete. With things like that, I try to make things fun. I try to be that fun coach and not take things too seriously, but also try to change it to where if we need to get serious, we can get serious. My coaching style, I guess I would say, is I want to be familiar with you, and I want you to be comfortable with me, but also I want me to be comfortable with you, and then vice versa. Say you have a 9-year-old kid who's really, really shy. It's my job to make sure that kid's not shy. I will have to go out of my way to make sure this kid loves either me or loves the APE gym. That way we keep him there. And then say with a teenagers, how they are, you don't want to be cringe or you don't want to be this, that, and the other. I don't care. I'll say the most outlandish things, and then they'll laugh. I want you to be comfortable.
And my girls get embarrassed at me because like when I'm bumping music and the athletes are in the gym, like I'm dancing, singing, and that's just who I am. And they're like, "Don't do that, Dad." And I'm
it's like too bad. It's to show everybody that yes, this job is serious and I love this job, but like I also want to have fun too, and I want to know that I'm having fun. To bring up the athletes, we were actually going to talk about them: Cameron, Brandon, Brooklyn, Vanessa. I'll always poke fun at them, or I'll be like, "Hey, what's going on today?" They've warmed up to me over the years, and now they'll just tell me stuff randomly, and then we'll just all laugh together. Building the relationship. Shout out to them. I've known them for so long. I call them the OGs because they've been there longer than I have. I've been at 4 years. They've been there 4.5, 5 years. So they're, I think, actually coming up on 6 years in a year. They've been there so long. Shout out to them for developing the relationship with me and developing the relationship with the APE in general. And they've been the longest athletes that we've had, and they've been consistent.
Yeah, like Huron was going through a transition time a little bit. We didn't have a lot of female athletes, and we were kind of a small club at the time. And then Coach Priscilla Schultz took the job at U of A. She was the coach of the Chandler Gazelles and recommended them to come to us. And then the club just blew up.
Yeah.
After that,
They're studs. They're all of them are just they're so consistent. And they're great. They're great kids. They showed me what a serious athlete looks like, and they showed me the difference between one athlete who's serious and one athlete who's not. Not saying that all APE athletes are not serious, but there's different levels to this, and they showed me that.
And I think Coach Furman Villagran from Hamilton, like he said that about runners. When he gets to know the runners, building relationships, like what's your goal? Because if your goal is to get to college, it's going to be different from someone who's just here to
have fun and run out. Yeah, exactly. Going back to me, when I ran at track, football was kind of like my love, but then track was just fun for me because it was more kind of just you against the clock. With track, you kind of saw, okay, which ones are serious, kind of like we were saying, which ones are serious and which ones were not. For me, like, did I have goals of college track? Not as much, but I just didn't know anything about recruiting, or you have to reach out to coaches. I knew nothing about that. With the knowledge I have now, I tell kids, hey, just reach out. Just reach out to coaches, and they're going to reach out to you. And if you're putting the work in, they're going to see that work. They're going to see those times. They're going to see those progresses, and they're going to reach out back. But you have to kind of take the initiative. You can't just wait for colleges to contact you. You kind of have to be proactive in doing that. That's what we've done at APE, is just like, hey, do what you're supposed to do, and the success will come as long as you do what you're supposed to do.
And you touched on this a little bit with the relationship building, which I think is important. I've been in instructional design, my career education for many years, and I presented last week at a big conference amongst all the university designers, which is pretty scary, but it was like on PI, which is more, we call it principled innovation at ASU, which is community building, communication, and how to interact with just people, like bringing that back.
Yeah.
And so I got a question. Someone's like, what's the hardest thing about being a learning designer? And everyone expects the technology, the pedagogy. And I was like, relationships. If I could build relationships with my faculty, with my athletes, with other coaches, it's just beneficial for everybody. My daughters, I am an assistant coach at Huron. Rick's their coach.
Right.
Rick's their guy. Crystal Brown, Paul Soriano are my girls' coaches at Williamsfield. That's in. Then Jen McCann's their performance coach. That's the team. Like, I try to just pull myself out of it for my girls, but we don't just have to rely on one person to know
a whole
everything.
team.
Yes,
you have
we
a
have
whole
a unit.
group of coaches that you trust, so that you've built that relationship with them. Hey, I know how this coach thinks, this, that, and the other. There's no distrust there. But I 100% agree.
Yeah, and with Huron, that's how I met Derek Delancey and the knowledge that he has, and then Nate Rath, and then the Hurtado family, like all these people who've ran collegiately. I've never ran collegiately.
Yeah, either
one. Some people will be like, well, what qualifies you to be a running coach? And it's just learning, just studying, building relationships and community, and the skills can be taught if you study hard enough, but it's that what you said, building that relationship with the athlete, building that trust.
Yeah, it's really important because, like I said, from 6 years all the way to collegiate, if I wasn't good at communicating, I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at, if that makes sense. Like, I have to be able to talk to a 6-year-old, but then also have to be able to talk to a 15-year-old. It's a different type of skill to have, and I think over the years I've learned how to kind of treat every age their age, but also make it fun for everybody else.
Oh yeah, shout out to Isaiah Cifuentes, my little 6-year-old runner at Huron. When I run with him, because I'm not as fast as the kids now, the way I make it fun with him is I either chase him with the water sprayer because he's scared of water, or I race him, or I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds, and then like he turns it up, and he had a pretty good. I mean, not that we're trying to break records. 6 years old, but he is a completely different runner from when he started, and I hope he's having fun. That's the main hope.
Well, and thing with that too is that especially with young kids, you also have to develop a relationship with the parent. Right? Because obviously when they're 15, 16, 17, 18, they're going into that, I'm starting to drive now, I'm starting to become my own independent, not really rely on the parents so much. But for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, it's like a kid's mindset can switch so fast. you might talk to the kid and the kid might say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, coach, this, that, and the other. But then you go to the parent and say, hey, what's going on with him? And then the parent has a completely different perspective, right? I think keeping that communication, that relationship the same with the parent and the child is really important.
Exactly.
So that 6-year-old you're training, I'm sure mom and dad love that for him.
Oh, they're my neighbors, and then
Yeah.
Coach Laura, she's an assistant coach last year. But kids don't want to be coached by their parents.
Okay.
When with Isaiah, Kyra, and Micah, they don't want mom and dad telling them hovering to do.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more defensive.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to do this. But when it's the rest of the team, then they're good to go.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about this too, because obviously you got girls that run that relationship of dad and then also coach. I'm going to ask you, how do you balance that? Because we have a lot of kids or their coach might not say they're not a coach, but their parent is like maybe a helicopter parent, or the parent will say one thing but the coach says another thing, but you're necessarily both. How do you balance just being dad sometimes at home and then kind of switching it to coach? Like, do you balance that, or is it kind of all one the same?
Yeah, it took me a while. I was a helicopter dad at first when we first started, and then took it too serious.
Mm-hmm.
I took it way too serious at a young age. Instead of them having fun, it was worrying about times.
Right.
Worrying about if this girl is this good, like you trained with that.
You should be better, yeah.
And it took Rick pulling me aside, I think, before I was a coach with him, and he was like, hey man, just let it flow, let it happen, let him come here and have fun. And his words really resonated with me. And we do have serious talks about running and stuff, but I really don't focus on the running anymore because it's covered through Rick and Crystal and everyone else. And some of the mindset stuff is through Jen. Crystal builds a really good relationship. Paul builds a really good relationship with them. I can take a step back, like probably the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But what I do focus on with them is, are you eating right? Maria's celiac. She's was pre-diabetic because we were eating a lot of white rice and brown rice and turning into sugar.
Right.
And then Tylee, just making sure that they're eating right, they're sleeping right, they're doing
what they're supposed
yeah, they're coming in the gym. I'm like, I built you guys a gym. There's no,
It's right. And I've seen videos of it. Yeah, that's a really nice setup you got.
What's really helped me having that team of coaches. Again, I don't have to have control anymore. There's someone else who could talk to the girls. I just want to be dad and tell them I love them. Derek Delancey, hearing his words too, because I've asked them before. I'm like, how do you balance this with Cameron and Brandon? And he's told me, he's like, it's different with Brandon.
Different.
And I think anyone who coaches Brandon knows he's just a little fire. I'm going to call this the Brandon Delancey.
Shout out Brandon, a little firecracker, man.
Yep. Today here on the Brandon Delancey podcast. He's just a good kid who works hard. Cameron, she's quiet. When you get to know her, though, she's really got a lot of passion for the sport and dedicated too. But Derek was the one who was like, I just tell him I love him at the end of the day and that I'm here for him. And I feel bad because both of us want to talk running with our kids. We're both super nerds into running, and our kids don't want to talk to us about it.
That's because it's more of like not saying you're trying to put pressure on them, but it's like if that's all you talk about, and then that sits in their brain and such, because you're teenagers, that's going to put a certain pressure on them unintentionally of like, oh my gosh, I would talk about his running. I got to run this, because they also are kids. They have other things, other aspects in their lives of, they got friends, they got social media, they got XYZ. They're not always focused on running, but like you're saying, like if you always want to talk running with them, that's going to could create a unnecessary pressure on them.
Yeah, but over naturally, like they just became super fans too. They love watching Diamond League. They love watching USATF, the Olympics. Like they're in it.
Yeah, they're in it.
Yeah, they're all, and so I don't have to do that anymore. They come up to me. They're like, "Did you see the race, Dad?" And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't seen it." They're like,
"What?"
"Oh, well, Faith broke the 1500 record." And I'm like, "Thank you," because
thanks for spoiling it for me.
Yeah, just their love for it has helped me then just pull back a little bit. And my daughter's going to be a senior this year. We're still working on like AIA hardship to get her at least into cross country because she sat out all track.
Right.
And we had to travel. I don't think they look at like, I don't want to knock any association, but
absolutely,
it's like they don't look at the athlete. They just look at the procedure and the paperwork. They don't realize the tears, the crying, the work all
the work you've put in.
And to continue to still do that work. Like I come in, my daughter Malia, I know she's my daughter, but man, she's been training as if she's been racing, but with no races.
Yeah.
But just so that way when she gets the opportunity, she's ready.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like I can't teach that anymore. She learned that on her own. And those are just the little things. Some of those little things. Going back, helicopter parenting kind of, it hurts coaches too, a little bit, because you got to trust the coach. It goes back to that communication. And you'd see these parents, and we have some too. Again, I was one of them. It's like, let us
tell me, and like that's my job with club coordinator is it's my job to make sure there's communication between the client, the parent, and the trainer, right? Say a kid walks in and says, hey, my dad does not want me doing this. And then as a coach, he needs to be doing that. Then that's when you go to the parent and be like, hey, what's going on? Like, tell me your reasoning, this, that, and the other. And we never want to try to be like, no, don't listen to your parent. Like, absolutely not. We're not saying that. But it's like, okay, hey, let's work with each other and figure out, okay, instead of this, can we try to switch it a little bit, or can we, instead of do a stretching day instead, if you feel sore, feel tight, you want to get hurt, okay, let's just do a stretch then. Let's just not even fight it. Let's just take a chill day and we'll do it then. If anything, I listen to the kid. He tells me, hey, mom and dad said, or my dad wants me to do this, or my mom wants me to do this. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Because 9 times out of 10, they got to go back home and be like, if they say Coach Tre said I couldn't do that, or Coach Tre said this, then it's going to be like, oh, well, then it's going to create a whole different thing. If anything, if mom and dad said that, cool, I got you. We're going to do it.
Yeah, I recommend parents sometimes to come do a workout at the gym to see what I'm going to do. And like I've had a few come and it's been awesome, but I mean, I throw the kitchen sink. I'm like, we're going to do a little bit of bands. We're going to do a little bit of weights. I just got an infinity rope, like just to let you know I'm well-rounded. Like this isn't what we're going to do all the time, but these are the types of things.
These are the type of training that we're going to do.
Yeah, it just goes back to that communication, man. And like with Williamsfield, with Coach Brown and Coach Soriano, we tell the kids, if there's a running workout we're not doing, tell us.
Yeah.
And we can try to incorporate it. If it's something that's not going to match us right now, maybe that's something down the road. When we're doing speed work, if you don't, like right now, it's boring to them because we're just building base.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we want to run.
Yeah,
we want to do some
let's do this.
speed work. Let's get on the track. And it's like, we're not ready for that. And trying to Mr. Miyagi them a little bit is like when you have a base and you have volume, everything else becomes easy.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a lot easier.
I mean, we throw them a bone and do some fartleks here and there, but it's like you get to that point where you're kind of bored and you want to go. That's when you're ready to go.
Yeah, that's when you're ready to cook. And that's the same thing with training too. Is like, and especially with younger kids who are 10, 11, 12, especially 10 and 11, they see other kids bench pressing and see other kids squatting, and they're bored with these AKA little kid exercises, and they're like, Coach, can I bench? I'm like, no, you cannot. Because you, like you said, you do not have a base. If you don't have a base and you put a bar on your back, what's going to happen? You're going to break your spine. Yeah. You on a bench, you try to bench press,
you're going to be on a YouTube video.
On YouTube, and you put you on the leg press, your knee snaps. Like you have to build a base first. And I always preach to the kids patience, especially when you're 11, 12, sometimes even 13. Like if you don't have that base yet, we're not going to put you in the weight room. And they get a little frustrated with me and with all the coaches, and we look at them and be like, I don't need mom and dad calling me, hey, why is my kid hurt because you put him on the squat ring? No, absolutely not. You are not ready. We're going to build your base like you were saying, and we're going to make you strong enough to be able to push.
Yeah, you have to build your base in everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Like I think when I get a new athlete, not I think, but I know when I get a new athlete, like I put them through a body weight workout first. I don't care if you're the best athlete in the state.
Yeah.
Like we're going through a body weight workout because you may be a great runner, but I've pulled out I just got one of those incline trampolines for like.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Throwing the medicine ball really shows you who the athletes are. Like the basketball movements and like, I'm like, yeah, you great runner, but
can you do this?
We need to work on athleticism.
It's called, you're an athlete for a reason, right?
Well, that's what run all day is. It's not really running specific, but it's just overall training. Like, yeah, it's been really good. One thing I wanted to ask you is like, what are some universal principles you apply to training all athletes, no matter their sport?
I would say the number one thing is effort. I would say effort and focus. There comes a point, like I said, like I like to have fun with the kids, right? But then can we switch it to have focus? And if I know you're dogging a workout, or I know you can go heavier and you're not doing it, then that irritates me. My main thing is you give me effort and I see what you're trying, I got nothing to say. But if I know I can get more out of you, or I know that you can be better than this, I'll get on you and I'll be like, hey, you are more than this. And it's mainly with the football players more than any other sport, because they need that sort of mental aggression, because football is a physical sport. With track, with volleyball, with any other sport, it's the same thing. But it's like, hey, you can do more, especially with girls, and I tell girls this all the time, you're stronger than you think you are. But like I said, they're kind of scared of getting hurt. They're scared of messing up, or they're scared of being embarrassed. Teenage girls, they want to either look perfect or be perfect or do everything the right way, where they're comfortable with squatting less weight than they know they can, or they can squat more, and they're comfortable with that weight. And I'm like, no, we're squatting more today. And then they'll do 15 reps of squat easily with heavier weight. And I'm like, see, told you. It's kind of giving that extra push.
I'm that guy version of that. I've done a lot of like everything, all the different types of workouts out there, from like the videos that you could buy to YouTube to Muscles Fitness. But my buddy that works here was a CrossFit. Yeah, CrossFit. Oh, he's pretty strong. Not athletic though. We play basketball.
Two different things.
But he's that guy for me.
Yeah.
Like we do some thrusters and I'm like, I'm just going to do the bar and thrust the bar. And he's like, no, man, we're going to put some 25s on there.
Or put some weight on there.
And you can do it. And I'm like, no. And then I do it. And he's like, see, I told you.
Yeah. And like I said, especially with the girls, like the guys are like, if anything, the guys is the opposite. They're like, Tre, can I put any more weight? I'm like, hold on, slow down. Let's build the base first. So we're here to build muscle. We're not here to be complacent. We're not here to be content. Right. It's a nice fine balance of focus and effort. And in the focus, it's crazy because all the kids know each other. And once they start talking, the focus goes out the window. And then I turn into the bad guy because I start yelling at them and be like, hey, and they'll turn and be like, oh crap, Tre's mad. Like, let's lock back in. So I would say those are the main two things that I would put my principle on. Hey, show me effort and that you're focused and that you're locked in. I'm gonna be locked in with you. But if you show me that you're not 100% in, that's going to show me as a trainer. It's going to show us as a staff, as an organization, that you're just here just to be here, and we don't want that. We want you here to put in the 100% effort every single time.
Yeah, and your knowledge, is universal. I go to the ASU gym here quite a bit, and you're with the freshmen, sophomores, like college kids.
Yeah.
And you have some that know what they're doing, but then I'll go there and I'll see someone that's maybe $130 trying to squat like 220, and like the legs are just like they look like they're about to snap, and they can't even get one rep in, and then they go and try again. It's like, no, man, throw 120, throw 150 on there, knock some out for.
Well, that's another thing, ego lifting. You see videos all the time of people squatting not correct form, or doing bench press, but they don't go all the way down. Just correct form or something.
Or that big arch. I want to ask you about that big arch.
That's an Olympic style lifting, like you see in the Olympics. They have that arch in because you're using your back to push off the bench. It's called a bench press. You use the bench to help press, right? I'm still trying to learn like why they do that, because that arch is excessive.
When I see some like just randos doing it though, like, because I'll go on Instagram and try to learn different moves or see what other people are doing out there, and then I'll come across a video where someone's got their chest like 8 inches off, and then they just tap
and go, and it's funny actually, we actually like laugh about that because we don't have kids that do that, but it's just a matter of like, hey Tre, can I try this for like I see all the kids do it, and that's why social media is good and bad, because kids are like, I saw a guy do this, can I try that? I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Don't always do everything you see on social media.
Comparison is a thief of joy. I saw that on a video.
I like that. Yeah, no, absolutely. That when it comes to stuff like that, we just teach correct form, and then whatever you see on social media, we're not really like, hey, let's try this on social media. No, it's like, okay, let's keep the basics. If you want to try to spice it up a little bit, we'll try to spice it up, but not with bench press and squat. No, you don't want to mess those up, because that's how you get hurt.
Yeah, I was joking with the kids one day, because sometimes I'll warm them up. It depends. If we have a lot of older kids at Huron, I'll let the older kids run the workout. But one day I was running it, and I was having them do like some dysfunctional stuff, and like ground touches to toes.
Yeah.
And then like I saw this video on Instagram where it's like Fitfluencers this day, and it's like touch your toes, burpee, kick out, jump up, jumping jack 10 times, and cross, and that's one rep.
Yeah, and then that's a different style of training too. Like there's HIIT training, there's CrossFit training. Like there's, not saying any one of them is wrong, but it's always nice to mix it up.
Yeah, and it's like you said, developing the plan for the athlete-specific sport, which kind of goes into the next thing is, how do you help athletes balance sport-specific skills with building overall athleticism?
I would say it depends on the kid and it depends on the sport. Say you have a football kid who's 12 versus a football kid who's 16. That 16-year-old kid might have a good base, might have a bad base, and that 12-year-old kid might have a really good base, but he's 12. I would say if they're younger, focus on the skills training, but then when they're older, focus on the strength, because you need to be strong, especially in football, to be able to take a hit. You got to be able to absorb a hit. But if they're younger, you focus on the plyometrics, the agility, the skills. And then like soccer, you want to do footwork, track, plyometrics, cross country, long distance. You want to build that endurance and the muscle. And I'm actually going to ask you one of those questions is, because I was a sprinter. You're not going to catch me running more than a mile ever. With cross country, with long distance runners, I'm still learning, like with Cameron, Brandon, and all them. It's like, okay, I know they have so much miles on their legs. For you, how do you train as far as like, okay, I know this cross country runner is not a sprinter, and then this sprinter is not a cross country runner. With sprinters, I know, hey, you that quick burst, you need the quick twitching. I know that. But with cross country, how do you do your training as far as, okay, we know you need to have this tank, and you need to be able to fill up this tank. You need to be able to empty the tank, especially on that last straight. How do you incorporate that training with them?
With strength training, I try to focus on workout days, days that they have a workout. I don't want them doing their strength training right after. I want that 12-hour, maybe 10-hour break, and they'll do their strength training at night. I try to leave rest days. And when right now, Malia and the Williamsfield team, they're building up their mileage. They're getting into those mid-30s, 40s, and we'll see what happens after that. Just trying to balance that where we do strength training on workout days, which isn't very much right now. I can add more days, but then I'll hold mobility sessions, like you were saying. Just have people come over, we'll foam roll, we'll stretch. I have all the tools that you could ever buy. Like
the amount of kids, and oh my gosh, the amount of kids that don't stretch is insane to me. Because some kids can't even touch your toes, and I'm like, that's bad. You're 14 years old, you can't touch your toes, and I know I'm going back to Cameron and Brandon on this one. Like I'm always on them. Stretch, like please stretch. And then with all the APE athletes, stretch, and they don't do it. I'm like, you can't find 10, 15 minutes at home to sit on the floor and stretch. And they're like, no. I'm like, that's a lie.
Yeah, I'll call out Brandon a little bit. It takes them about 10, 15 minutes of talking with Tristan at practice till they finally sit down, and Allison and Derek are like, Brandon, stretch. Yeah, and then I have to get on it too.
It's so important. It's so huge. And like I said, like it takes us to tell them because we're the coaches, because they're not going to do it unless they're like really, really disciplined. And even some of the disciplined athletes, they still don't stretch. They go home after practice and they go into bed, or they eat and then go into bed, or they take a shower, go into bed. They don't take those extra time to stretch. So the amount of time I tell kids stretch is crazy. And then like, oh, Tre, my quad hurts. I'm like, did you dynamic stretch? Did you roll out this morning? Why do you think? Yeah. Why do you think your quad hurts? My hamstring hurts. Well, what did you do this morning? Oh, I ran and then I came to APE. Did you do any type of cool down, recover? No. Okay, well.
And then sometimes you don't know with athletes. Is like the boy who cried wolf.
True.
We have a few athletes at Huron. It's like my hip hurts, my leg hurts, my calf hurts. And then I don't know if because then they'll go rip out a set.
Exactly.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
So I actually call people out on that. They'll say, hey, Tre, say your ankle hurts, right? So Tre, my ankle hurts. I can't do a box jump. I'm like, okay, cool. And then they say I have the ladder set up and we're doing footwork. Hey, Tre, can I do ladder? I'd be like, no, your ankle hurts. Oh, actually, I'm like, no. I said, no. Yeah. You told me your ankle hurts. So I'm trying to save you from yourself. If your ankle hurts that bad, you're not doing ladder work, because what's that? That's footwork. That's ankle stiffness. That's ankle stability, right? Unless you lied to me and your actual ankle was a hernia, you just didn't want to do a box jump. I'm right there with you. The boy who cried wolf.
Yeah, it's funny because I was texting Coach Brown and Coach Soriano. So we have this 8th grader who's coming in as a freshman, and he's used to being the fastest middle school.
Right.
Well, now you're in high school, and even our varsity girls are faster than you.
Yeah.
And so he comes to practice. He's like bumming. He does the work, but he complains about it. And he's like, my ankle hurts. And then like the other day we were running, and he like rolled up and like on the sidewalk. And he's like, and then I like sat down, stretched him out. And then we all leave. He goes to soccer camp, and I see him cutting. I text Coach Brown and Coach. I'm like, he's out here cutting right now, and he looks perfectly fine.
The kids. What's the phrase? Give them an inch, they'll take a mile, right? If they know they can get away with it, they'll probably do a little more. And that's with humans in general, not just athletes. Like, we're human. Easy always sounds better, and so less work is always great. If the kid's like, hey, if I say I'm hurt, the coach is not going to let me do this, this, that, and that. So and sometimes they try to preserve themselves, like with any sport. Like say there's a track meet coming up, and they know something's bugging them, and it actually might be just nothing, but they still want to take that extra risk, and they'll like that. It'll be like self-preservation. They just want to conserve themselves, which is fine. I was like that too. Like if something was bugging me, like deep down I know, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't run. I would self-preserve. I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't. And then the coach might get on me a little bit, but I'll be like, it's a fine street, because that's actually how I got hurt at Williamsfield. Is I was on the 4x1 team. This is my sophomore year, and my hip flexor was really bugging me. And we practiced the 4x1, the handoffs, the day before the meet. And I was on the first leg, and I couldn't even I got around the curve, and I said, Coach, this is bugging me a little bit. And he's like, okay, just go home, rest. And I said, okay. Track meet comes, and it's just bugging me all day. And then I go, Coach, I don't think I can run. And he's like, oh, it's all in your head. And I'm like, and as a kid, it's like, okay, you're right, Trey, suck it up. Go run. And okay, get in the blocks, have my baton, set, gun goes off, I run. I don't even get to the top of the curve. Goes out. I always try. I go to the athletes. I go, hey, if you're really hurt, please let me know, because I do not want you to get hurt. But if you're BSing me, don't lie to me, because there is that fine tune of I don't want any athlete to get hurt. So if you're really hurt, let's talk about it. Let me know, because that experience kind of taught me, okay, if I'm a coach, which I am, like, okay, if I'm going to be a coach and a kid tells me he's hurt, okay, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, because worst case scenario, what happens? They get hurt, and then it's on you, right? I'm always taking the safe route, and then we'll go on from there.
Oh yeah, I'm not that type of coach that's like the last one, best one, and not a knock to that. It's just not my style.
Right.
It's like, especially if you've been grinding out there and doing all these sets, and you then go ask someone, hey, last one, best one.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, I just knocked out like a 105, 400 on my fifth one.
Yeah. and I'll say last one, best one, just to kind of give them that confidence boost. Like, hey, just like to make the less rep the best rep. I just always say that sometimes just for a confidence boost, not for
like. In lifting, I do it. Yeah, I'm like, you guys, this is the last set. Let's rip this one. I always do that. Yeah, definitely in the gym. I'm like, hey, when they see what the workout is, usually the first round, because I do everything at the same time, and sometimes I'll have different groups, so I'll mix it up, 3 over here, 3 over here, and then I'm monitoring.
Yeah.
And but that first set is like, let's fill this out. That second set, start ripping one. The third one, let's maintain, and then that fourth one, let's just
go for it.
And then I always tell them, if you don't have it though, just continue to do. But my program's very modular based. So you can add more things to it. Instead of RDLs, then you add kettlebell RDLs. Oh, you want to make it harder? Let's add a foam pad to that.
Yeah, for balance and stuff. Yeah, I agree.
And going just back to that, like, I'm going to nerd out a little bit. Like,
I love it. Let's nerd out.
Yeah, like how I got into this was just through a lot of injuries running. I didn't start running till I was 25. I was a little bit overweight.
Okay.
Again, I was athletic in high school, then had my babies young and took the dad approach.
Right.
And got into running through an uncle. But again, I was always getting injured. Then I was like, hey, what prevents injuries?
What prevents that?
And then going to physical therapy and doing that. A lot of my stuff is a lot of physical therapy based on a lot of days. I'm a nerd when it comes to data. I try to balance everything out. Like I have spreadsheets, I have Excel sheets, and like how much am I hitting of chest? Like we just transitioned to do a little bit more chest work, because the last month I neglected it a little bit.
That makes sense.
But I do analyze a lot of data, making sure that if they have a race this week, we're pulling back a little bit. If I know we're going to have a long run that's going to have some intervals on it, maybe I won't hit them as hard on Friday evening when they come. We'll make that more of like, I'll pull out an ankle stabilizer, like the board.
Yeah.
We'll do foam pad, like holding bands. It just depends on what they're doing.
And also depends on the athlete themselves, right? Like this kid, it has ankle problems. Okay, you're probably going to focus more on like the foam pad, right? Or if this kid's knees go in when he squats, okay, that means his glutes probably weak, and we need to work on the glutes. Yeah, it just depends on the kid.
Yeah, every week I kind of go back and look at the data on where we're hitting. Again, I'm more focused on like the overall fitness, which is then helping them become better runners.
Right.
So, like we've seen times drop, and I'm not saying it's because of me.
Right.
It's just because the athlete, they're dedicated. All we could do as coaches is provide a blueprint, but it's up to them to put in the work.
To follow it, absolutely. And it also depends on like the mental side too, like kind of like that, like we were just saying, like that last rep, best rep, right? Like, okay, are you gonna fall down and quit, or are you gonna mentally push through? We actually ran the hills this summer. We do it every year at APE at the Discovery Park. Everyone runs them, and so we start off small, run like 20, 25 hills, but then we'll go to 30, and then on that last hill, kids are on the top of the hill just sitting down or hands on their knees, and then they're like, Trey, I can't do it. I'm like, you're telling me on we have one more run, and you tell me you're gonna quit at the last 100 meters? You're going to quit in the fourth quarter. That's the type of the mental aspect of it.
And I think when I said that, I'm thinking like a 800 meter or like a mile reef, where you're just like
survive,
or you're doing a 25-minute tempo. Like you just need to survive that last 5 minutes.
Exactly. Or are you going to survive, or are you just going to walk off the trail and then go where else? Which I tell this cross country kids this all the time. We have a lot of new ones now that APE. Now that Cameron and Brandon are there, like Tristan, we have Tristan, Ella, Natalia, shout out all them. Hopefully they listen to this. But Mason, all them, I commend them so much because I'm like, I could never do what you guys do. Like, I'm like, hey, how you guys doing? I ran 8 miles this morning. I'm like, you did what? And you came to train, right? Like that different type of mental aspect of long distance running versus a sprinter is completely different. It's crazy.
But I think it goes back. You hit it earlier. Like the secret is the recovery in between. It's like if you're not doing that recovery, yes, then you might have a higher chance of getting injured. But if you're foam rolling, air boots, it's so accessible nowadays.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there's a whole lot of technology and stuff like that out now that can help you.
And I think because like you're pretty fit yourself, too, it's like you live the words. Yeah, it's like you've been through it, like with the hip injury, and it's like you're trying to prevent your athletes from getting injured.
Right, and it's so important for the stretching, for the different type of recovery because I didn't, like I said, when I was hurt all the time, I was like, why am I getting hurt? I'm fast. I'm doing everything right. I was one of the kids at the track practice, like I was sent at practice every single time, and I'm like, why am I getting hurt? Like it didn't click in my brain until after I graduated or after I got to ASU, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't straight train. So I always, if that like kind of what we talked about earlier, like if I could go back, I would 100% go back and change my whole weightlifting routine as far as track specifically, because track was more fun to me than football. Football is more team oriented. Track is more individualized. It's more like you want to break your own records, stuff like that. You beat your times. For track especially, like but obviously I weightlifted in football. You kind of have to, you listen to the coach. But track, we didn't really weightlift. And then like I didn't have APE as accessible because I didn't know it existed. So I thought, okay, you run your butt off, run to the ground, go home, practice, or go home, eat, do your homework, and then go back to practice, do it again. There was no strength training in my when I was younger. So now that I know what I know, it's like, hey, you still need a strength train, otherwise you're gonna be hurt.
Yeah, and I do have a newer athlete. He's been with me for about 2 months now. I don't want to call him out on here yet, but he is one of the top runners in the state.
No name drop.
But I'll ask him. He'll probably be like, yeah, you could have said my name, coach. But he played basketball. And so like his mom, like was getting on him because she was like, well, you were in the gym all the time. You woke up, you went to the gym. You were at the gym during the day, after school, at nighttime. You're not putting as much effort into running as you did in basketball. And he's like, well, I ran 15 miles at like 5:30 pace this morning. That's the work. That's the work. But I have 2 questions for you. Is like, now that we're on this topic, is why is strength training critical for athletes, like even in endurance sports? Because when you look at early 2000s and runners back then, distance runners were super skinny, like Ryan Hall. I mean, Ryan Hall's a giant now, but you're seeing more focus on the athletes, that come in, even the mile, the 5K, and they look strong. They look ready.
Athletes don't look the way they do now, and it's because of strength training. There's a reason why people are getting faster. There's a reason why records are being broken. There's a reason why, like, what's the saying? Records are made to be broken, right? It's so important because you're building that foundation of performance, right? If you don't strength train, you're not going to perform at the way you want to. And if anything, and this happens all the time when we do people's in-body scans, those measures their muscle mass and body fat. If you don't work out for a week or two, your muscle mass drops. You need to keep the engine fresh. You need to keep it going. If you stop, like your car sits for a long time and you try to start it up, what happens? It's going to sputter, right? It's the same thing with weight training. If you stop weight training for a while, it's going to be hard to get back into it. With all these times being broken, I think it was like a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old running like a 52, like a girl or something. And I'm like, there's seniors who aren't even running that. And it's crazy. And I'm like, where is this coming from? It's because, well, they're getting faster and they're younger. And I think it's because they're starting to train, like, not saying professionalized, but they're starting to take it more seriously.
Learn the basics.
Learn the basics and take it more seriously.
And I think that's hearing you talk, and then like a lot of other people that I collaborate with as well, is we don't want to throw the whole kitchen sink at them. We want to leave them room to grow at the next level, and leaving them room to grow, giving them a blueprint that maybe they go to college and they don't have APE. They don't have anybody else looking out for them.
Right.
They'll have that knowledge that they gain from you to be like, okay, I know what I need to do for injury prevention. I know what I need to do to build strength for X, Y, and Z.
And I've heard this from Terry. He's actually a trainer at APE, and his daughter Taylor ran track at U of A, and he said the coaches give you a sheet of a workout plan, and you just got to go do it. And sometimes there isn't that kind of one-on-one thing. Kind of like you were saying, if they can use our knowledge of what we taught them, they kind of know what exercises are, and they're like, okay, I know I can do this, 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 and then if anything, they can add to that program as well.
Yeah, and then my second question to follow up on that is like, what common misconceptions do people have about strength training? And how does APE address them, or you address them personally?
The biggest misconception, and we've kind of already touched base on it, is strength training gets you hurt. Or strength training, like, obviously, yes, you can get hurt doing anything. You can get hurt doing any sport, if that's what makes it a sport. I would say the biggest misconception is that you will get hurt if you strength train. And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. You'll get healthier, you'll get stronger if you strength train. With my job with APE, and we kind of already talked about this, there's a lot of kids that like kind of said that might take off. Like, say they're in season, they might want to pause their APE membership because they don't want to train during season because they think they're going to get hurt. That's the biggest misconception. And Larry, the owner's like always on, especially football players, always on them about that, because if anything, they stop weightlifting and then they get hurt during season.
Right. I'm going to second that completely, because I tell that to the athletes too, because they're like, am I done now? And I'm like, no, like, we transition. We do, maybe our volume, our weight comes down, but we're still doing movements. We're still strengthening tendons and areas and muscles.
Because think about it, right? When you're in season, and I bring up football because it's just a violent sport. You say the season, the 10, 12 game season, right? And you don't weightlift at all during that span of 12 weeks, and you're running, you're getting hit, your body's going to break down. If you don't kind of like refresh the body, retool the body, what do you think is going to happen? You're gonna get hurt. That's the biggest misconception, is you have to keep the muscles strong. You have to keep the muscles fresh. Otherwise, you're all that work we just put in the summer is a detriment in the fall because you stopped training, or you didn't stretch. You didn't take that extra time to do what you needed to do, and now you're hurt.
Yeah, and we're not saying that athletes shouldn't have breaks.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The way we do it, like the way I've just learned from Coach Rick, is you take your 2-3 weeks off. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's just from running, but it doesn't mean like maybe you take a week off from everything.
Right.
It's been a long season. But when you have hungry athletes like the Lanceys, Brooklyn, Tristan, my girls, all the Huron kids, like everybody out there, they're thirsty to start working out.
But they love working out. They're like when they always come in, they're like, hey, can we do this? Like, hey, I wanna. They will ask me to like bench max, and I'm like, guys, y'all are runners. We don't need to, like, sure, we can. I'm like, but we don't need to. We don't need a squat mat. Like, we don't need to prove how strong we are. But they're just so wired like that. Like, they just want to perform. They're like, hey, I want to bench this amount of weight today. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try. But there's no reason to.
Yeah, and that's what's really cool about sharing athletes, like sharing them through Huron and APE, and then the Highland and APE. Like, it doesn't have to be like housing everything in-house.
Yeah.
But I remember when Brandon started going to you guys, and then he started putting on a little muscle. I call him this to his face too, but I call him the show pony. I'm like, let's throw a show pony out there. Because when he started getting muscles too, that just built more confidence. And not just the show, but like physically, like, oh, wow, like this is a different body that I have to learn, but it's good. It's like level Super Saiyan. Like I always call it Super Saiyan.
From Dragon Ball Z. That's actually the first show I watched when I was a kid. But I always tell athletes, you got to look the part. And like coaches kind of see that. If you walk into a say you go meet a coach and you look like a blob, they're gonna be like. But if you walk in there looking fit, they're gonna be like, oh, this kid's legit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna name drop Gabby Taylor. Shout out Gabby. She went to UCLA. She's going to UCLA.
So I was sitting next to. So Malia had to do a run. Oxy invite, and the coach was right there sitting next to me. I like took a picture, sent it to Derek.
Yeah. So she told me about when she went to go visit to UCLA, and the coach looked at her and was like you run track. I tell people this all the time. Okay, you want to look the part, you want to impress the coach. Okay, let's make the model what it needs to be. Let's always look in the part is also important to coaches as well.
And no formula is the best, and that's why like I love talking with people like you, because the mind's always going.
Always.
It's like, what can we adapt? What can we move? Like when you build a course for ASU, like, or a classroom, people, like a lot of faculty go, we're 100% done, right? And I'm like, you'll get paid for this course, but teaching and learning is never, it's always.
I agree. Yeah.
What do you see as the biggest challenges young athletes face today, both maybe on and off of their sport?
Social media.
Yeah. I was kind of agree. Again, that
the-
comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah. The amount of times I see kids at APE on their phone, like, and obviously they're checking their phones, they have their AirPods in, checking their music, scrolling on Instagram, texting their friends. They talk to me about, I don't have TikTok, but they talk to me. They're like, Trey, you seen this TikTok? I'm like, I don't have TikTok. And they look at me like I'm foreign.
I see the TikToks when they hit Instagram that are probably
those are Instagram reels, right? I have Instagram, so I see the reels, and they're like, what are you, a grandpa? Or like, some of the kids call me Unc. I'm only 24, but they always get on me. Like,
yeah, that's a sign of respect, though. That just shows the relationship, but they value you as that knowledge base too.
Yeah, I would say the amount of times I have to not necessarily yell at kids for getting off their phone, but kind of going back to like the way we were talking about, my two main things are effort and focus. Like if you're not focused, you're on your phone or you're talking, okay, that shows we're not locked in. Hey, show me we're locked in and we'll be just fine. But the phones, the kind of what we were saying earlier, kids seeing things on social media and wanting to either replicate that or either wanting to do that. That's the biggest challenge, because some of the stuff on Instagram and on TikTok is great, but then there's always a good side of the coin and bad side of the coin, right? It's a blessing and a curse, I would say, on social media, because like what we're doing right now is social media. What APE does when we post stuff, that's social media. So there's a lot of great and there's a lot of bad to it, because there's a lot of misinformation out there that people can put out, and if kids see that, they absorb that. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, like there's so many accessible things for kids, and that's why parents sometimes have those parental guidelines where they shut down a kid's phone at this time, or they can't download this app at whatever because they need the parents' permission. Some of that, there's certain guardrails you can kind of do to combat social media. But at the end of the day, the main thing for kids, I always say, like, hey, don't necessarily buy into the hype, but just lock in.
And just because you see something doesn't mean that you need to be there.
Exactly.
Like, I wish a little bit of self-confidence that no matter what level you're at, I feel like athletes should celebrate their successes. So, like, if you're a 240, 800 female runner and you run a 235, like, post about it.
Exactly.
Like, celebrate your success. Like, don't worry about someone judging you and being like, 235 slow. And it's like, no, that's
personal success.
Yeah, that's their fast, and they've improved. I think that running community is like building that confidence to get away for, like, I don't want to post because I'm not a 220 or I'm not under 2 boy.
Right.
Like, post what you're doing in the improvement. So, like, that's what I try to do, is just promote others.
I also say with social media, there's always that body positivity, and there's also body negativity too, especially with the girls. They see women looking the way they look on social media, and some girls see that and they either want to look like that or they're like, oh, I can never be that. Right. I always focus on body positivity. I'm like, you look great. Like, regardless, like, we do their in bodies, and sometimes the girls are upset. Sometimes the guys are upset because either their body fat went up by a percentage or their muscle mass went down by maybe 1 or 2 pounds. And it's like, I'm like, okay, but how do you feel? Like, this in body scan is not the end all be all. Like, how do you feel personally? Well, I feel good. Okay, let's stick with that. Okay, can we work on this? Yes, but it's not everything's always going to be on straight incline, right? It's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to go up and down.
Man, you'd have made a great classroom teacher.
And it's funny because, like, and I'm gonna bring up this little side story. Like, my mom and my sisters see, like, the stuff I do on social media with APE and stuff like that, and they're like, "Where the hell did that come from?" Like, they're like, "Where was that?" I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of like my calling, and the kids are like, Trey, you're so great around people, and I thought about being like a PE teacher or a coach at Williamsville. I thought about stuff like that, and it's something that I still want to do. But it's like, do I have the time to do it? And because I'm always needed an APE, but it's always funny that you say that, because I'm like, I'm coaching kids now, but it's like I could see myself in a teaching setting, like a PE coach or a coach on a football field or a track coach. My brain's always going. I got years and years to kind of succeed, but it's funny that you said, because my sisters and my mom, I have 3 sisters, and they're like, you're such a, like, you're smiling, like, what? They're like, what? Like, you're enjoying yourself? And I'm like, yeah, like, this is, I don't know where it came from. Like, I don't know how I got good with communicating with kids and how I got good around kids. I don't know where it came from. It just happened, you know?
I feel like, so going back to when I was in high school and even now as an adult, like, I was the hub of my friends. And like we were a group of 6, but like they were all spokes.
Yeah.
I was their best friend.
And so
And we all,
yeah,
I kind of felt like you were like that
yeah.
too.
And it's funny, it goes back to those relationships we're talking about, right? Like, had I not known Ashley when I was a little kid and developed that family friend relationship, I wouldn't have met Larry. I wouldn't have met Amar. I wouldn't have met Curtis. I wouldn't have met all these different Kendra. Shout out all of them. Like, I wouldn't have met you, the Delancey's. Like, it's so crazy about the relationships I've built and the relationships that I'm still building because I know this person, because I knew this person. You literally walked up to me at the D1, was the D1 state track meet, and I was sitting with Amar and where I'm sitting with the Delancey's and the Joes, and we're just sitting there just talking, and you're like, hey, do you want to? I don't know how it came up, but you were just kind of like, do you want to do a podcast? And I was like, sure, I'm completely down. But like, had I not known the Delancey's, I wouldn't have been on that track meet. Had I not been at APE, I wouldn't have been at that track meet to meet you, to do this. It's crazy to think about how things are all connected like that.
Yeah, and to plug in some APE growth and networking a little bit, like what makes APE unique compared to other training clubs or programs?
I would say with APE, it's not a concrete program, if that makes sense. Like with other facilities, it's like, hey, you do this and that's it. There's this class for this group. This is what we're doing. With APE, it's a lot more fluid. You might see yourself next to it. Like, you're an 8-year-old kid, you're gonna be right next to a D1 football player. Like, that might happen.
I know. I like seeing your guys' posts, and you've seen the workouts.
Yeah,
because I learned too.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, that looks fun.
Yeah, I always say APE family. Like, we're an APE family. Like, I APE more than I am at home. It's like my second home. I tell these kids all the time, like, this is a family environment for you. We accept everybody, whether you're either in sports or not. Like, we have some kids who are just general fitness, and they come to APE and they make so much progress, and they just feel better. But the parents just want the kid to work out and feel better about themselves. And then the parents are so appreciative of what we do. I say that's the difference, because with other training facilities, they might be either sports specific or they might be just specifically for sports, right? But for us, we'll take in a 10-year-old kid who's not a sport guy, or we'll take a mom who wants to train. Okay, let's go. Let's train. And everyone can benefit with APE. Everyone can benefit with just working out, being fit. I would say that's the difference between us and everybody else, is that we accept everybody, and then we want the APE family to be family. And then that's how we get most of our clients, by word of mouth.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, APE, what's that? Oh, you train at APE? And boom, 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 boom. That's how we got so many Highland track kids, because of Gabby, Cameron, Brandon. We have all these Highland track kids now because word of mouth. You train at APE? I'm going to go to APE.
Yeah,
So,
I've recommended you guys for a couple people that have came too, and that it's just like I'm at capacity for an individual.
yeah.
And so I have the group that I have. If someone decides they don't want to go, but I can only handle, like, I think I have 8 athletes, or 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And that's all I can handle. I've been sending people. I don't know if they've ever came.
Yeah, no, it's and that's the word of mouth. It is what I'm saying is our reputation is good. Like,
Yeah, you see people doing good things.
you see
and
the
it's
good things. You see the pictures,
performance.
the videos. You see how much fun we're having, and that just shows. I think APE's been open for 12 years now, or 14 years now. It's been a while, and it's just the fact that we're still going and we're still growing. And we've signed so many kids up this past summer, and it's because of word of mouth. And in football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, track, like, we're getting a lot more different other sports, but when I got to APE the first time, it was mainly football, but now it's a lot more well-rounded.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to follow up on that, like, you have a lot of passion for this. What drives your passion for coaching these athletes, and why do you love doing this work?
I would say there's something about being involved in a kid's success, like being involved in their story, being involved that you had a hand in what they're doing. Like with Gabby, for example, she came to us. I sat down and talked with her, and she was like, "Hi, I'm Gabby. I want to run D1 track," and da-da-da-da. But she was the model of consistency. And when she got the offer to UCLA, like, I felt overjoyed for her. I felt so proud of her. I would say the main thing, my passion, is being proud to be able to train these kids, because in like, you're in these kids' lives. What you say to these kids matter. I'll bring up an example. I have this young girl named Hazel, and just as simple, she's 9 years old. With kids that young, you have to be careful what you say. One time I was like, hey, we can't do this. But she saw that as that I said she, like, can't, like, she's not able to do it. She kind of took that to heart. And then she came up to me the next day. She's like, I felt like you said I couldn't do things. And I said, no. So I kind of fixed that. Like, what I said mattered to her. With coaches, you have to be careful what you say to these kids, because, like, you're their role model, the pinnacle of what they kind of strive to be, right? I always try to be careful what I say, because one wrong word or one wrong turn, I might be detrimental to these kids. So I would say my main passion is to be able to positively impact these different kids' lives. And like I said, I'm bringing up the Delanceys and Jokes again because of I've known them for so long, and
they're some of my best friends too.
Such great people, and that they're the reason why I'm on here because I know them and I know you, right? I've developed that relationship with them, and the fact that I'm involved in what they're doing and I'm involved in their lives, like it just makes me happy.
Yeah, that's how I feel. The way, like with Gabby's, like I trained Kayla Lark for a year in this, and
she's at U of A, right?
Yeah, and not to be her running coach, but to just train her in this stuff, build her knowledge, build her base, and just the human of Kayla. Like she took in like my daughter as a friend, like my little one, and they trained all together, and she got to see like this is what
this is what it takes. This is what it takes to be a D1 athlete.
Yep, and she's just so humble and kind, and her dad's amazing too. I love Daryl Lark, but I have some good families. I have another friend, Derek Drury, Taylor Drury's dad. I can't get Taylor to come. I'm calling out Taylor on the podcast, but no, Derek just comes to me as a friend.
Yeah,
he is my user tester. I feel like if we can make programs that helps build him and I as 40-year-old men, stabilization, balance, and if we could get to a certain point, then it's going to be beneficial for. He's my test dummy now. My girls aren't my test dummy,
and now it's him.
Yeah, Derek Drury is my.
I love that.
He comes over 3-4 times a week, and we test all these different things out. Hey, I got this idea, or I seen this, and he's like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I pulled out bands and smash balls, and I was like, "Okay, we're gonna do some bands, just some rows." I made this one. It's an iron cross. Yeah, I called it the Salcedo Triangle.
You just stand there.
Yeah, and then we did some other stuff, just all bands, just regular thin to large bands, and then we hit the smash balls after that, just chest work, 35 pounds, but like over and over, and then doing all these other things. Like he was like, we were both roasted.
Yeah, both cooked. Because band work is hard, and athletes some think like, oh, what am I doing with this? But then the whole workout's done, they're like sweating or drenched, and because it's hard because you got to incorporate a lot of core, you got to incorporate a lot of stability. I don't think athletes do that.
And he's gotten to a point now where he's strong as me or stronger than me in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
And you have to be humble of that as a coach, like to see someone like when we're doing boxing, like he's fluid, he hits hard when he's pushing more weight sometimes, and I'm like, man, I mean, I helped him get there.
Yeah, but now it's like, dang, wait a minute, you're getting a little too advanced for him.
But now it's not a competition. But like yesterday, like he grabbed the 35, and I was like, all right, I guess I'll use the 30 because 35 is like my biggest ball.
Yeah.
But just proud too. It's like, man, we're out here grinding. Like because he has the 35 out of 30, I'm gonna go a little bit faster. I got to outwork him somehow because I have a push sled too, and I got about 100-meter like garage back area, like not my garage, 100 meters, but like the alley, and I'll be like, yeah, just push it as far as you can now, see how far you get, and he'll push that thing all the way, and I'm like,
you're just like,
then that means that I have to push it.
Now you gotta go. You're just hoping he was gonna go halfway, so you could maybe go in a little further.
Yeah, I always try to like be like, hey, we'll switch at the light.
That way he's not outworking him.
Yeah, he's become a beast,
and
I love it, but it's for everyone. Fitness is for everybody.
Yeah, I love that.
Going back to APE a little bit is, what's on the horizon? Do you guys have anything new?
APE is, I don't even know the numbers of how big of square foot it is, but we're actually knocking down. We have a wall, and it kind of goes out to another space. We're actually knocking that wall down and kind of expanding because school is actually about to start back up, and those peak times at 3 o'clock, 4:15, 5:30, they get crazy. It's like we've had, I think the most we've had at one point is like 55 plus people in there just working out. Like and Larry calls it the jungle, and then he's clapping, the music's blaring. He's like, well, because it is, and obviously APE with the monkey, like it's literally a jungle in there, but it's controlled chaos. That's what we call it. With knocking that wall down and kind of expanding that way, that'll kind of help open the sport floor a little bit. And then we did add a new app called Push Press where you can kind of see how many people are scheduled that one session. You kind of see, oh, there's 20 people in this session. It might be a little busy. We might have to come a different time. So that's on the horizon. And then we do summer camps every year from kids 6 to 12 years old. This was our 3rd year doing it. That ended in the beginning of July. Continuing the hills, knocking down the wall. And just building the brand is kind of what we've been doing, and what my job, kind of what I'm doing here, kind of talking about APE. When we share this out to the world, hopefully you get more kids, we get more kids, and kind of just build APE overall in general. I would say I'm excited to where APE's going to go because I've been here 4 years and Amar's been here for a little bit too, the head trainer, and Larry's vision is out of this world and he wants APE to be the best, and I'm on board with him, and Amar's on board with him. All three of us together, we kind of want APE to be the best it can be, and we're going to try the best to do that.
I love that. I think about with Huron, Rick doesn't need me to have the running knowledge. Like I said, I didn't have a running background. Like Rick just saw my passion for the sport as a fan. And then just in talking with him, like all the other things that I would be doing. And I bring weird, like to other people it's weird, but then I bring scrapers and I'm bringing this, like all these different tools and like working on them and learning. And I've learned the running through him. And now with my own coaching at Williamsfield and working with Paul and Crystal, like a lot of what I've learned comes from that Huron base. And that's Rick. Like Rick is the running knowledge, and he built my base, but he doesn't need me to be a master runner knowledge guy. He just needs me to mix it in with the athletes, motivate, give tips, running form, learn all the basics.
Be a coach.
Proper take, and then fill in the gaps. Like I always say, like we're yin and yang. He's probably like, no, we're not yin.
Peanut butter and jelly.
I know a lot of people ask me when Rick got the Highland job, like, are you going to come to Highland? You have to be coming to Highland. I'm like, he deals with me at club. And then like we both have the Hall family, Stella. Goldie. And so then I talk to Tara and them all the time too. Then he gets Tara now at Highland. I mean, they get each other. And then he gets me at Huron, and then there's Ape, and we're all
everyone's all connected, which is crazy because like when I started Ape, like I did not think of like I would be in this position. Just meeting different people, seeing what they do, and kind of just keeping that bright spot in people's lives. Like I didn't even imagine that I would be at this spot, and I'm still going. I'm right there with you. Develop all these relationships. Everyone's connected. Everything's great.
I just love it because when you do it right, it's about community building. It's not about jealousy. There's enough people out there. There's enough athletes to everyone to have to build, and people could go where they feel comfortable. But like that's what it should be about, is community building and working together. Like I don't have the knowledge that you guys have. I'm more of like a B plus. I'm learning. I'm doing learning.
And I'm the same way. Like I'm still learning. I don't know everything, and I'm learning things from kids. I'm learning things from Mar. I'm still learning from Larry. I'm still learning, like kind of like saying the benefit of social media. I'm still learning on social media. I'm still learning these programs. There's always infinite knowledge out there. And I think being humble and knowing that, okay, you aren't the big guy, you aren't the big boss of everything. You're not the head honcho of all sports. Like you stay. I always say, I stay in my lane. I know what I know, and I stick with that. And then if you want to teach me, I'm open to learning. I'm not going to learn that. Like that's too much ego.
Yeah, it goes back to remember the Titans with Denzel Washington, where they're like, oh, you only got 5 plays in your book, and he's like, all you gotta do is grease it, and it's just gonna keep going.
I love that.
I didn't touch on this earlier, and it popped back in my mind, but we were talking about like the power of recovery and nutrition and all that. I saw a reel the other day with LeBron, and people were interviewing him because like sometimes he walks off the court if the game's not close, like when the game's ending. And they're like, do you do that because you don't love the game of basketball? Or everyone has their opinion on LeBron,
but he's got a microscope on him.
But the dude's 40 years old and still putting up 25 points a game and battling with a bunch of 18 to 30-year-olds. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And what he said, though, was when that clock hits 0, that's the amount of time I have to get ready for the next game. I push myself through the locker room. I go get my nutrition. I do some flexibility, mobility with the trainer. Then I get in the ice bath, and then I'm eating again.
And then an interview.
Yeah, and then do an interview, get a full massage, and then go to bed and get ready for the next game. And he's like, I wish I knew that younger. And I wish I took care of my body a little bit younger. So, but now, like being 40, and that's why I love LeBron, because he's my age.
Oh, he's so... I talk this all the time with kids. He's my GOAT. Like I know Jordan exists, but LeBron is my greatest of all time. But with professional athletes, like us as spectators, we don't really understand what they go through. And like we see documentaries of like NFL players like shooting up their ankle with some type of drug to kind of just push through the season, or same thing with LeBron, and he's got to do different type of recovery stuff just to make it through. It's 82 games. That's a lot. It's a lot of games, and injuries do happen. And they're professional athletes. What do you think is going to happen on a high school level or collegiate level when you don't have access to the professional knowledge, right?
Someone advocating for you.
Exactly. With LeBron, with all these professional athletes, like I commend them, especially if he's 40 years old and he's doing that. It's remarkable. With any athlete at professional level, like they're putting their bodies through a lot of stress, and it's hard.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I think being born in the 80s was an amazing time to be born because I saw a lot of things. I saw Jordan. I saw all those guys with Jordan playing, Mutombo, Ewing, and then I seen Kobe.
Yeah.
And then LeBron. And it's like, you don't have to say which one's always like getting the arguments over. They're all great. And
all great. And we have
it's the Mount Rushmore.
We have a lot of ape debates, like of is or Jordan and LeBron is the biggest one. We'll do like football ones. We'll do like who's the greatest. I mean, the greatest quarterback of all time is Tom Brady, but then people throw Joe Montana in there, and people try to throw Patrick Mahomes in there. But
Troy
is Cowboy fan. But we always try to talk about that stuff, and then it's fun. It gets heated sometimes, especially with the Jordan LeBron.
I love
Jordan,
those conversations.
It gets so intense, and then I'm like, especially with the kids will say Jordan. I'm like, you weren't even alive to see Jordan. Like, what? Just because you watched The Last Dance, and like we'll go back and forth. It gets so crazy, but it's all healthy debate.
But that's good. Just hearing that's community. Like that's just having fun and making things not so serious.
Yeah. Me and Amar, shout out Amar, or we'll die on the hill of LeBron James is the good.
There's too many things in this world to argue about. I'd rather argue about is Jordan better than LeBron.
Yeah, no politics, none of that. Just okay. Let's just talk about sports for a little bit. It's a little healthy debate.
And I'll see if I can find it and I'll text it to you. But I watched a documentary with Jerome Bettis back in the day, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And just he talked about recovery and how he didn't do enough of it. And at the end of his career, it was literally play on Sunday and couldn't walk until Wednesday and then start moving on Thursday.
It's tough.
And then finally Friday, you're going through the walkthrough. And then Saturday, you feel fine, and then just to hit it all over again.
Yeah, that's why I commend just athletes in general, because it is tough. They push, and sometimes they have to push themselves through injury. They might be hurt, and they still have to go play. Especially if you're professional, you get paid to the big bucks to go perform in front of the fans. It's especially as a business, they're there to make money. They're paying you to make money. Like it's like sometimes you got to put yourself through that pain to kind of perform. You know, I commend all the professional athletes for sure.
Oh, but 80s and 90s football was probably crazy. What was going on?
There was some illegal stuff going on for sure. Like the hits, I'm glad that there's rules now for the NFL, but sometimes it's like, okay, that was a good football hit. You can't flag that.
Yeah. So I grew up in the Balco era, so like that's when Barry Bonds' neck grew in his head. And Barry Bonds was my favorite baseball player.
Yeah.
He snubbed me once though, at Banquet Ballpark. Like I was the only kid right there. I had my jersey on. He walked down. I hey Barry, can you sign my ball? And he turned around and looked at me.
He walked off. Oh man.
Jeff Kent at the time saw that. And Dusty Baker, and he grabbed my ball, and he disappeared for like 10 minutes, and then he grabbed my ball, and he's like, hey, you want your ball, kid? And he's like, no, I'm going to put it in my pocket. Then he ran around, it came back, it was signed by everybody.
Wow.
Except Bonds.
Wow. Barry made it for sure not to sign that guy.
I'm a Griffey fan after that, because Griffey signed my pennant at like a spring training game, and I was like,
that's funny.
I think I sold that was the first eBay sell I ever had. I sold that jersey.
When did eBay come out? I don't even know.
I don't know either, but I wish I would have been.
That's nice. That's going to show my youth right there.
But yeah, back in the day though, all these guys got in trouble. Like Barry Bonds still on the Hall of Fame, which he should be. But they knew. They knew that. I saw McGuire hitting 500-foot home runs through Banquet Ballpark. Like,
and it's just one of those things where the league as an organization needed to make an example, and then they just obviously. When the league wants to make a statement, they'll because they run it.
And now officially fooling the circle, Bud Selig taught a baseball law class, and I got to watch him record his lectures. It was pretty cool. I should have asked him about Barry.
Yeah, you should. You should have.
Why the hate, man?
But hey, what
you knew what was going on, bro. You knew.
He probably would have been like,
exactly.
Who knows?
Just a few closing questions. When you walk away out of here, what do you want people to know about your personal coaching philosophy and what you stand for? And I think you've hit on it a lot. But
I've hit on a lot. I would just say, my overall coaching philosophy is, what you're going to get out of me is just you're going to get a motivated coach who wants to do the best for your child, and that's pretty much it. If your child gives me effort, gives me focus, if I'm locked in, you're locked in, you're going to be great. But if you're half-assing it to say, or you just don't want it, then you shouldn't work. But kind of like what I was saying before is like, if I'm making an impact on your kid's life, I'm going to take it seriously. And that's with APE in general. Like we have a positive impact on little kids teenagers, collegiate athletes, and the collegiate athletes come back to APE and train during the off season and stuff like that, and they don't have to pay. That's kind of our give back to them.
Yeah, we have some Huron athletes. Jaron Stevens, shout out to Jaron. He's at GCU, but he's kind of our goat at Huron. He's the one who went all the way. And then we have Jaden Huron at, I think it's CSU Pueblo. But Jaden hasn't come back in many years. I mean, she's still in college right now, but Jaron will come back, show up off season, and I'm sure he'll always be a lifer. And hopefully more of these kids start coming.
And that just shows the impact you have on these kids. Like the fact that they come, because they know where they started and they know where they came from, and that just shows the impact you had on them. It meant something to them, and that's why they keep coming back.
Yeah, we have an athlete, and like you said, this is those who come back. We have an athlete who he doesn't run. He's an ASU student here. I call him Mr. Math because he's going and getting a math degree, and I'm like, what do you do with, like, but he's so smart. Like, anytime we have, like, a data question or, like, we're talking about time or numbers, we're like, hey, Mr. Math, what's that?
Hey, what's this?
But he still comes to here. He comes to run all day, and he doesn't have to. He's in college now. He could be focusing on that.
He's an adult. He can do what he wants, but he's like, chooses to come back.
Yeah, but I would love to see him race because I think he would break his PR, not about his PR, but he's not. He's just he's an Army Reserve too. That's awesome. So respect to him.
Yeah, good for him.
Just a good kid, man. Yeah, I call him Peter Parker too, Mr. Matt, Peter Parker.
That's funny
because like he always wears loose white shirt.
Yeah,
but when I seen him in a tank top one day, and I was like, holy smokes, this was like 4 years ago.
That's funny.
But I laughed that I can't take before and after pictures of him because when he came to me, he was really bulky.
Yeah,
and was huge, and he was like, I want to thin out and do more like endurance strength. Like he shrunk under me. But he's still super fit. Like biceps ripping out of his arms, but he's not as like
not as bulky as.
But I'm like, I go, Garrett, I can't take before and after pictures of you, bro. Like, you got smaller.
Yeah, you got smaller. This is the opposite of what we're trying to do.
And he's like, but I became a better athlete, coach. And I was like,
that's true.
Yeah, I better make a testimonial of him. But
you better put a paragraph next to it explaining.
And I think you touched on this just right now, but anyone who's interested in working with APE, what can they expect when they walk in the door?
Yeah, when you work out at APE, you're gonna get that family environment. Your kid is gonna get all of our attention, and obviously there's a lot of kids there, but our job is to make sure that kid is comfortable and that kid's getting the training that he or she deserves. And then if your kid doesn't want to do professional football or D1 college, whatever it is, if they just want to train and get better for a year or two, send them to APE. If they have aspirations for collegiate athletes, you don't even have to go D1, D2, D3, whatever, NIA, whatever it is. Send your kid because what you're going to get, your kid will get pushed mentally, physically, and then they're going to be a better human because of it. It's going to teach them discipline in the classroom. It's going to teach them discipline with their sport, with whatever it is, with respecting their friends. There's different values that we teach. Not necessarily to sit down in the classroom and teach it like that, but it's just the way that the environment is. You kind of just see it. You respect each other. We respect everybody. We have fun. We poke fun, and like any families do. And that's what APE is as an organization, is that we just help kids become the best they can be, whether with sports or just in life in general.
Yeah, and I knew you were a great coach when I met you, just because you were there. Yeah. You were present. You could just have the kids come to you and they leave, and then you just go and sit on your couch, watch TV, or go on a hike. But no, that you take out your time to go support your athletes and show them love, and you're there for them for their successes, but also maybe if they don't hit their successes, and letting them know that mindset. I really value that when I see you there and like talking with you, and then like again, it's all the same circles. I'm wearing a Williamsfield jersey.
Shout out Williamsfield,
but I see Huron. I'm going to give my Williamsfield kids like my biggest effort. And a lot of those athletes are Huron athletes. But just because you're wearing Highland, Chandler,
it don't matter. Like,
Campo.
Like we have track kids from Hamilton, from Chandler, from Highland. We have a girl who just she just moved to Georgia, from Georgia to Arizona, and now she's going to Hamilton. Next year, I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna have all these track meets I gotta go to, and it's gonna be Highland, it's gonna be Hamilton, it's gonna be, and I'm supporting everybody because I'm there for everybody. And the football same way, basketball same way, volleyball same way. Like, we support everybody. It shows them that, kind of what we were saying. It shows them that we care, that I care about them.
And I think that's what makes APE different, is because it's not just the box that you go to. It's an open box. We go and we support everybody, and you can't build that. And again, with the coaching staff that you guys have. You guys all mesh well together and have different strengths in that same passion, though. The same passion, different strengths, different skills, but that's what makes something special.
Exactly. With Amar, he knows what he knows. Larry knows what he knows. I know what I know. Coach Taylor, Coach Eddie, Diego. We got 2 Diegos, Christian, all of them. And Josh and Gonzo. I can go on and on about all these coaches that we have. everyone has their own little niche. Everyone has their own little focus in their own little specificity, and that makes APE what it is, because it's not just, like you said, not all in one box. It's kind of open to everything. That's what makes APE fam.
Those of you out there that maybe you're not doing cross country, maybe you have another sport, you're in track, or you're building for that, or you're in football. You don't have to be in season, but give APE a look, go communicate, talk with them. Just where can people find APE online or learn more to get more involved?
You can search online, Instagram, look at APE Athletes, and then same thing online, apeathletes.com, Athletes Performance Enhancement. That's what APE stands for. Just search that. You want to do a scheduled consultation. That's all you have to do. And then we sit down, discuss, talk your goals, what you want to do with your life, and if it's whether sports, not sports, if anyone has any family, friends, relatives, if they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, they're young kids, send them. They're 15, 16, they want to play D1, college, whatever, send them. Then that's how you can get APE on the map.
Yep, and I'll post all the links in the chat and make sure that everyone has access to that. But it's really been a break.
This was so fun. I love it.
I think even though I know everyone else too, like I haven't been. This is like I've been the less nervous in.
Yeah. So yeah. No, you said, I know you texted me. You said you haven't done a one-on-one in a while, and I was like, that's fine. That's fine. I'm excited. You know, I've never done a podcast before, and I'm comfortable with you. I'm comfortable with just talking in general. This was fun.
Oh yeah, and I have to say that here at my job we have a little basketball court. And
a lot of smoke on
we're gonna have a 3-point.
I'm winning. He's not winning.
The record, I don't even want to say what the record is embarrassing, but we'll see if it gets broken. I will post the results when we're done. Hey, but appreciate you, Coach.
Yeah, of course, Andrew. I appreciate you for having me. All the podcasts you've done, I've seen them and I've heard them, and I'm appreciative that you had me on here, and hopefully you have more people on here that are either like APE or whoever, and that this podcast does well.
Yeah, and I specifically wanted you because I'm an advocate for strength training and all that too, and sometimes that gets looked down upon, or maybe it's not as important, but to me I feel it's just as important.
Absolutely.
So, to get other people to talk about it besides me, who doesn't have a background, like a certificate background in it or anything, to hear from an actual professional who works with professionals, like that's what I needed to have the athletes here, man. It's all about the athletes and getting the word out to them.
That's what it comes down to.
And building community.
Exactly.
So, appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll find you on the next episode of the Run All Day podcast.